Hello, it is Live, Sweat, Sparkle with Coach Carolyn. It's Thursday again, my opportunity to dress up again. Listen, we're talking mothers and motherhood this week. I had put a survey out a couple of weeks ago asking women 4 questions, if they would respond to them on things that they'd learned in certain key areas of life. And this way, we can sort of hear what mothers our age are feeling and struggling with, and the wisdom that they have and that they've gained, but also if you're thinking of becoming a mother, or if you know a mother, or if you don't even care about being a mother, which is completely fine. You know what? You can learn some things still, because I do believe we all nurture and inspire somebody out there even in the world, even if they're not ours. So this is really for everyone, and I hope you enjoy it. To the younger mothers out there, I really hope that you get something from this, because a lot of the answers that I was given, actually, they are all along the same thread, really. But at the end of the day, it's about taking care of yourself, and it's about keeping focus on you as well, and things like that. So before I tell you all of the information up front, let's get right into it. Now, I do want to say, when it comes to being a mother, I know myself that things can change. Before I was a mother, I was thinking, you know what, there is no way my child is ever going to watch television. I'm never going to put them in front of the TV, and my gosh, they're never going to watch video games. There were all of these things that I had already determined in my head that we as parents were not going to do or allow our child to do. And then you know what? You have the kids, and you completely change your tune, because sometimes you have to go with what works, and sometimes you have to go with allowing yourself a little bit of time for sanity. And if that means putting the kid in front of the TV for half an hour, so be it. Because the key at the end of the day isn't that they sit in front of the TV, it isn't that they play a video game, it's actually that they're well-rounded. And that was a really big lesson for me as far as parenthood goes. It was keep them well-rounded, because I know for our son, we did have those times where he was not allowed to watch TV or play video games, and that allowed him to get creative. Allow your kids to get creative. Allow your kids to get bored. Allow your kids to have to just think and do things on their own, because it'll be incredible what they actually end up doing, and what our son would create during those times where he had to do that. Actually, he didn't have to. His own time, he would then go and create. It would get those creative juices flowing. So don't necessarily have all of these rules set in place before you become a parent and say, this is absolutely what we're going to do. Of course, you can have guidelines. But at the end of the day, I think for parents, and I think for mothers of all ages, whatever age our kids are, you know, those rules shift, and our relationships with them shift, and you know, it's all about sort of going with the flow, being like one of those, you know, reeds flowing in the wind. It's really about taking every day as it comes, and I think that's really important. The other thing that I would personally like to say as well is, I often will read out there comments of people that because they didn't breastfeed, that they were down upon, and other people commenting and judging that, or because they had to have a C-section, or because they only have one child. Well, I had a C-section and I only have one child. I mean, that's aside from my Chihuahua Golden Retriever, but she's a whole other video topic. But I think we need less judgment out there when it comes to mothers, and if we can band together more. And I don't, again, regardless of age. So if it's a young mom and it's about breastfeeding, you know what? There are some women that can't breastfeed. I had to have nuclear tests right after my son was born. I could not breastfeed, so he didn't get breastfed. He has turned out brilliantly and very, very healthy. And, you know, I had to have a C-section because I was having a lot of complications. And again, all worked out fine. So there's an awful lot of things that some people can be judgmental of others, and I think it's actually about coming together and not being judgmental, because they're like anything is a story behind everyone. I had a woman come up to me once, and she has multiple children. Lovely. I love that. And she told me off, basically, when she found out I had one child. And I didn't have the nastiness in me to say, you know, I didn't get the choice. I almost died. I didn't get the choice to have more than one, because I didn't want to throw that back in her face. But again, I do want to let people know there is a story behind everyone. So if somebody has one child, or if somebody did have a C-section, or if somebody is not breastfeeding, do not judge them, because there's always a story. And if not a story, they're just allowed to do that. All right, so onward and upward. Let's talk about other people and their comments now. And I am going to start with a woman who, she's in her 40s. She didn't give me her name, but she's in her 40s. And I like this one. It said, don't be so hard on yourself. There is no manual. Learn from your mistakes. Have fun, because the time goes by quickly. If there's one thing that I've been thinking of lately, our son is 23. It's where the heck did those 23 years go? It seems like yesterday he was born and we were new parents, and you're trying to figure all of that out, and then all of a sudden they're in their 20s and they're spreading their wings and they're flying, and you're so supportive for it. Enjoy every stage that they go through. They're going to be tiny just for a little bit of time. Enjoy it. You're tired, maybe cranky, but they grow through all of these different stages and you see them go through them. And I love her point that there is no manual. We always say that. There actually absolutely is no manual when it comes to parenthood and when it comes to being a mom. And therefore there is, you want to go with what feels right for you. You want to learn and research, whatever you have to do. Talk to your girlfriends, talk to other mothers, talk to older mothers. I found that very helpful when I was a young mom, but there is no manual. So do not be hard on yourself. And we all make mistakes. That's what life is about. That's where we grow, is when we learn from those mistakes. We have to make mistakes in order to grow and to become better, more well-rounded people. So don't kick yourself when you make a mistake. Don't kick yourself if you scream at your child once. We have all been there, done that. Can I tell you the story about when my son decided to roll off our bed for the first time at, I think, 4 months old, 5 months old? He'd never rolled before, and I heard this thud as I'm cleaning, and I had specifically put him in the middle of the bed so he would not fall off, because he could only roll one way, he couldn't roll the other, and he rolled off the bed, and we took him to the hospital. And the doctor there, as I'm in my tears, said, it happens to everyone. So I'm not saying allow your kid to just fall off the bed, but don't be hard on yourself. When mistakes happen, and they will, learn from it. What can you do better? What can you do different? And that's it. Danielle, who is 49, and she said, it's tough, but worth every second. I don't know what other mothers will say, but I think it's probably, for a mother, I know for me, it is one of the toughest things I've ever done, but one of the best things, one of the most rewarding things. It really is worth every second, and it allows you to grow, and it allows you to become a better person, and it allows you to, you're teaching somebody else, you're showing them the ropes for life, and it's an incredible thing. So yes, tough, but work through the toughness, because that's where we find how strong we actually are. Okay, we have Lorna. Lorna's in her 70s, and this was what she said. You've never been a mother before, when it says your first one, obviously. Follow your instincts. Always ask for help where needed, and enjoy. Enjoy your baby, however tired you are. All things pass. And yes, that's very, very true. I remember years ago when I was a young mom, somebody gave me the best advice, and it was, let your baby, the first thing they see in the morning, let them see your smile. Doesn't matter if they've had you up all night, doesn't matter if you haven't slept, doesn't matter if you've had an argument, you feel absolutely shitty, excuse my French. You get the idea. Go into that room, and the first thing that child sees is your smile, because they didn't ask to be here, and they certainly haven't been part of the problem. So I did that every morning. That was a matter of pride with me. It didn't matter how tired I was. That first thing in the morning, that baby got a smile. And I think there is so much to be said about children seeing our smiling, loving faces first thing in the morning. So I love that one. And again, she says, follow your instincts. This is somebody who's had a lot of children. Follow those instincts, because so often they're right. Often we question ourselves, but so often we're right. So follow those. And please ask for help where needed. As women, I think we, in general, think we have to get through things without asking for help, and we might look weak, and we might appear as if we can't do it, and oh my gosh, I'm the only one that can't do this. If there's one thing I would love to tell young moms, it is please ask for help. And you know what? If somebody says they will help you, then ask them again for help, because if they didn't mean it, they shouldn't be asking you. And so when I speak to young moms and I offer them my help, I mean it. I want them to ask me for help. So ask your friends, ask your family, ask other older women, ask people for help. Do not do this alone. You don't have to do it alone. It takes a village to raise a child. We all know that. Okay, so the next one, and I actually don't have an age here, but it says it's much harder than anyone will ever tell you, especially if you have special needs kids. It never really ends, so be very sure you're ready for a lifelong commitment. Actually, that was Jill, and Jill is in her 50s who offered that. I remember now. And yeah, I think that's a very pertinent point. There are many people that have special needs kids, and they bring a lot of pleasure, a lot of joy to their life. Understandably extremely challenging. I can't even start to imagine. We have somebody that lives nearby, and their son is autistic, and I can only imagine the challenge that it is. So it's those conversations that you and your partner need to have before you have these children. I'm not even going to get into what those conversations should be and entail, but you got to think about these things before you have children. Answer all the questions, the difficult questions that are out there first. And yes, parenting is harder. There's some people that make it look so easy, but parenting is extremely hard. But at the end of the day, it's phenomenal and it's very rewarding. So, a lovely lady who's 52 said, like them and love them, hug them often, especially when they grow up. It's the hardest job ever, but the most rewarding. Do you see the theme that's going through this? Ask for help, hardest job, most rewarding, incredible, blah, 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 blah. I remember years ago, I have a girlfriend that I grew up with, and I'd love it if she was watching this. We've known each other since we were about 6 years old, and she has 3 children. And at the time, this is going back years ago, Liam was much younger. I think she'd had her children slightly earlier. And I said to her, because her children were cool, her children were kind, they were wonderful, they went and did things in the world for other people, and they did charity work. Like, how the hell did you bring these kids up to be like this? And her advice to me, which I took to heart, because our son was just, I believe, going into finishing elementary school, was communicate, 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 communicate. Now, friends, I believe this is one of the biggest things when it comes to life. A lot of problems could be solved if we just communicated, period. Whether it's with spouses, partners, friends, loved ones, relatives, communication is key. I'm a super believer in that. You can tell I've just gone all excited. But when it comes to children, all the more. She said, if they want to hang out with you, you hang out with them. If they want to play with you, do like our son likes to play pool. I didn't really like it at the time, but every time he asked, I wanted to. Because what happens is as you are talking with them or hanging out with them, they start talking. And that's the communication that happens, the things that you hear and you learn. You don't necessarily have to ask questions. They offer the information to you, and it starts this whole dialogue. But communication is huge. And if there's one thing, that smile comment and this one, to me, was just a game changer for parenthood. Absolutely brilliant. Before I forget, just because my brain's getting a bit older, I want to bring up spoiling. Now, our child is we have one child. He's a bit older than 1 now. We have 1 child, obviously. And I was very concerned when we had him, or when I was pregnant with him, that he would be spoiled, because he's got lots of aunts, he's got lots of uncles. Most of the family are in lovely positions. They're lucky, we're in a lucky country, lovely part of the world. We're in a good situation. And I knew he was going to be getting an awful lot of material things for birthdays and celebrations and Christmases, and that actually didn't sit well with me at the time. And some wise soul said to me, it's not worrying about what they're spoiled with materialistically, it's if you're spoiling them emotionally. And that to me as well, chills. That to me as well was a game changer. And that did it for me, because it doesn't matter if your child is being given loads and loads and loads of things. It's how you're having them handle it. It's how you're bringing them up. It's how emotionally, if they are not spoiled emotionally from you and they don't get answers from you all the time, they don't get your attention at every single minute. If you are not spoiling them emotionally, then it doesn't matter the material stuff they get. And often you'll find that they actually want to help other children and give some of their stuff away, or they want other children to have it instead of them. So remember that point. That was cool as well. Okay, the opportunity. This was Wanda. She's a personal growth coach, and she's in her 50s as well. She's a lovely lady. Opportunity to nurture another is a great gift. And this goes out to whether you're a mother, or actually if you choose to not be a mother, because we're typically nurturing and inspiring, like I said earlier, many people or others that we don't really even realize. I have to say, nurturing another for me, I mean, I have that maternal instinct. It's been an amazing thing. And I know as you go through this nurturing phase, sometimes it can hurt, okay? Let's be honest, sometimes it can hurt, because sometimes our children aren't gonna like us. They will love us, but they won't necessarily like us. here and there, and that's okay, and we need to understand that and not take that personally. They'll come out of it if you back off and you just allow them to work through it. They know you're there, but that's it. I remember our son never said I hate you, because you would hear some kids going, I hate you, to their parents, and I felt very proud that my son would never say something like that, and I thought actually it would be like a dagger in my heart. And there was one day where, this is when he was very little, where he did say it. And I found with ours that when I would have him, sit down for a little while, cool down, and then we would have a discussion. And when I had a chat with him as a human being, a little human being, and when I put things to him in a way that it created empathy, it completely resonated with him. And so I had that conversation of, what, you hate some vegetables, don't you? Like, you really dislike them? Yes. All right. There's certain things out there in the world that you really dislike with a passion. Like, really? Yes. Okay, you're saying that about your mother. That's what hurts. And as soon as I said it, a lot better in those days, as soon as I said it that way and put it that way to him, he never said it again, because he understood what it was. They throw these words out and they don't mean them. And that's what we as moms have to understand. Don't take them to heart half the time. They're saying something, they're lashing out, they're reacting, they're emotional, but that's all part of their growth. All part of their growth. All right, there was a woman in her 60s who said don't do it, and I wanted to address that as well, because again, there's judgment out there with people. If somebody doesn't want to be a parent or a mother, then some people can jump on the bandwagon of judgment for that. And I say, you know what? There are some people that don't want children, and that's fine. If you don't want to be a mom, that's fine. That's fine. Again, I'm sure you're inspiring people some way in your life. But not everybody wants this, and that is okay. So that's something, again, that we need to just back off from and say, some people want this and some people don't. All right. And lastly, Val, who is 72. It is everything and the reason for existence. If only my daughter understood this. So this made me sad, obviously, because I don't even need to explain why, but it did make me sad. I have somebody in my life who has had an instance happen where their daughter cut herself off from them. And it is very heart-wrenching. You see this, the people go through this. It's extremely heart-wrenching for all involved. And I think sometimes as children, and I'm including myself here, maybe when we're younger, we don't get things. Our parents are our parents and they're old. And as we get older and as we become parents, we finally get things. And I'm sure some people out there who've put heartache into somebody else's life, I'm sure they don't mean it, or I'm sure if they understood the depth of it, that they would have wanted to turn back time. So my point here to you is if you are not very close with your mother, give her a call today after this video. Phone her up, tell her you love her, or start the conversation, because her heart breaks if you're not in her life. I'll tell you that, and I know that. All right. One last piece of really good advice I was given was, and I can't remember who it was, but at the time, our son was a few weeks old. And they said, you know what? I write a journal every day to my baby as if I'm writing it to my baby. Every day. So I thought, you know what a great idea. I love to write, so I got some really cute little journals, and I started doing that. And so for the first few months, it was daily, and it was lovely. Sit down, write what they've done. And then it went to weekly, and then monthly, and then annually. And then I even was doing it sort of every 5 or 10 years after that. But the beauty of it is, you think you're going to remember things that your children do when they're babies and when they're little. We think that oh, that's just amazing. And we're not going to remember it. I'll tell you now, there's many things I don't remember. What I do love the fact about is I have these journals, and you open them up and you read them, and it takes you back to when they were tiny, and you remember these things that you'd completely forgotten. Not only that, for your children to read these when they're older, to see how much love and time that you put into this is incredible. And you know what? If you're an older mother, if you're a mom my age and older, it's never too late for anything. Start now. Start observing things they do and emotions and things like that, and connections that happen between you. Or start this kind of thing with your grandchild or children. Wrong teeth in. So how cool is that? So I hope this has been of interest to you. I think what comes out of it is that we need to be kinder to ourselves and ask for help, because none of us are perfect. And at the end of the day, it's about, you know, doing all of this together with each other. Because if your best friend or your sister asked you for help, you would be there in a heartbeat. So they will be there for you. One final thing, which I lied when I said one final thing before: focus on you time. I work with women mainly 40 and above, and they come to me where my kids are grown up, they've left home, I'm finally able to focus on me. And what I would love for you to take from this, if you were a young mother, is 1 hour a day or 30 minutes a day right now, starting today after this video. Focus on you now. Don't lose yourself and focus on yourself and wait till you're in your 40s when you get it. Start now. Take the time. It is not something you need to be guilty about. It is not being selfish, because when you are allowed to take time for you, you have more calmness, more energy, you're happier, you have more to give others. And so take that time and empower yourself with it, and feel proud that you're taking that time, because it is going to benefit your child/children. Okay, so that's really the video. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. If you have any comments that you want to offer, or if you want to let me know what challenges you've had or the best advice that you ever learned as far as being a mother goes, because we can share it with all the younger mothers. And you know what? I just think it's a great role to have. It's one I've been extremely proud of doing. And to see somebody else flourish and, you know, you had something to do with it, pretty cool thing. I hope, I'm talking English now, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the night, and comment, let me know if I can ever help you with anything. Remember, I'm a health coach, I am a life coach, and I'm a personal trainer, and I'm also a speaker. So I wear many little sparkly hats, and I would love to help you or your organization if ever you need my services for anything when it comes to life and health. On that note, go and have a wonderful rest of the evening, and don't forget to live, sweat, and sparkle. Bye.